If you've been on YouTube at all for the past year or so, you'll have seen adverts for Raid Shadow Legends. Not just adverts though, sponsorship deals with huge amounts of content creators, mainly in gaming, but some in tech and other geeky genres too. They all say the same sort of thing, reeling off a bunch of buzzwords about the game and then saying something unique in an effort to make it personal. I'm not having a go at anyone who is sponsored by them. People have to make a living, and licensing deals are one of the best ways to do that on the internet. It's obvious that they are adverts, so it's not shady or anything, and I'm sure they are paying good money to those content creators they have on board, so all power to them. What's weird though, is that this game has such a massive amount of press and is talked about by so many prominent in the gaming industry, yet there's barely any genuine reviews about it. It occurred to me the other day when I saw another plug that I don't actually know if the game is good or bad, I only know the marketing speak. So I decided to give it a try myself, with an objective review. I mean, for them to market it as aggressively as they have done, they must be proud of it, right? They must have something they know can sell. Well, I can now confirm to you that it is a terrible game. It's not good, and you shouldn't waste your time downloading it. In fact, I even think it's harmful for this game to even exist. I could just end the video there, but I'm never going to play this game again, so I might as well tell you everything there is to know about it in this video. I'm not going to be talking about it again, so here we go. So it starts up with a decent cinematic, a bit of story, and it seems like perhaps it might be okay. Then there is a cutscene in which your entire party is killed by a dragon, and the lady resurrects just one of them to start again. At this point I had some hope. It seemed like a standard RPG setup, but I wasn't expecting miracles. Then you actually get into the game. I say game, but it's really the most basic form of turn-based combat you could have. Each turn, you select one of your guys, pick a move, select which enemy to attack, rinse and repeat. There is a very basic rock paper scissors dynamic with the champions that you can unlock, and each one has a moveset that can do different kinds of attacks. There are a few waves of enemies, and then you are done with that stage. Each stage has several levels within it, all on the same map, until you fight a boss. If you wanted complexity, this is not the game for you. So you're probably thinking, that doesn't sound too bad. A simple turn-based game might be fun for the 5 or 10 minutes you might play on your phone. You don't want something too in-depth. Well, be prepared to end up paying for that privilege. This is one of those games that markets itself as free, but it really isn't. So much of the game is behind payments that it actually feels like one of those shareware games from the 90s, in which you get the first level for free, you have to pay for everything else. It has all the standard stuff these sort of pay-to-win games are known for. You have to pay for loads of different currency types, which can be used in markets to unlock other things that you get to pay for to unlock new champions, weapons, to have more charges to play more levels that day, etc, etc. Everywhere you look there are pound signs. It's actually very complicated, the marketplace they've developed for this game. It's not as simple as paying for a pack of stuff and randomly getting loot from it like other games. There are loads of different avenues to go down, whether that's improving a stronghold, buying shards or gems. It almost seems as if it's purposefully confusing, so that you think you're buying one kind of improvement, only to realise you need to get something else in order to utilise it. Of course, you can get some of this stuff by playing the regular stages over and over, but it's basically impossible. You'd be spending years to get what people paying could get in a few days. The scales are tipped so far in one direction that if you wanted to get far or even compete in multiplayer, paying is the only way. The worst thing though, the absolute highest disgrace to this game referring to itself as an RPG, is the way equipment works. In this game, they're called artifacts, and it starts off seeming fairly generic. Beat enemies and levels, get pieces of equipment to attach to your characters, this in turn improves their stats, combined sets with better bonuses, all standard stuff, nothing wrong with that. The main problem though, is that in order to remove a piece of equipment, you have to pay with one of the main currency in the game, silver. Yes, one of the most fundamental pieces of any RPG, being able to customise and improve a character by equipment, is locked behind a paywall. It's almost unbelievable how this game is designed. It's worse than gambling, and although I haven't played one of these mobile games in a few years, this has got to be one of the worst kind of this free-to-play model. It shouldn't even be referred to as free-to-play, it's more like free-to-try, but if you spend 50 quid on this game, you'd barely get a hundredth of the content if you just purchased a proper game at full price. As for everything else this game markets itself on, the graphics and the sound, it's okay. My phone probably isn't showing off the best graphics this game has, but it's all just fine. The main issue is that the advertising makes it seem as if this is a real RPG with a big campaign and a world to explore, when really it's just cookie cutter turn-based action in a generic medieval fantasy setting. It looks like a PS2 game, which isn't a bad thing considering just a few years ago mobile games looked like Snake, but it isn't going to blow you away either. My personal recommendation is to leave this game well alone. I understand that as it's free to try, you could download it and make your own judgment call using one of those special codes that the YouTubers are handing out to get some extra stuff, but just be aware. They're getting better and more adept at making this type of thing more addictive each day, designing it in just the right way to get you hooked and pay just a little at the start until you're happy spending a lot. There are some horror stories out there on the internet of just regular people and gamers getting hooked on this sort of thing, even when they've had no prior gambling addictions. I think it really should have much tougher regulations and oversight, as they are just running rampant. Do yourself a favour and give this game a miss. Go on Steam or get a humble bundle and spend that few pound on an indie game made by someone with real love for gaming that will give you a genuinely good experience instead of being a glorified one-armed bandit. This is the only thing I would say to those YouTubers out there that are being sponsored by a game like this. I understand that you need to make money and you need to pay your bills, and they're probably paying well, but just be careful you aren't accidentally getting kids addicted to this kind of thing. Younger people especially take their favourite content creators' word as gospel, so make sure they know it's an advert and not a genuine recommendation. That was my little review of a terrible game that you should avoid. I'm not going to give it a score because I don't really think it deserves to count in the same genre as regular games. I understand this review wasn't very long, it was fairly short, but there isn't much to say about it. Underneath all the pay to win guff, it's just a generic turn-based, boring action game. There's not much to say at all. If you like this video, feel free to like and share and even subscribe. I have a Discord too if you'd like to say hello, link in my description, and you can also become a channel member if you want to support this kind of content with the join button below. I'm going to be making more videos like this in the future, so please let me know what you think or if there's anything I could be doing better. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!